Hi, thanks for joining me on this AV-8B demonstration video where today I'll be covering off how to perform the different types of roll-in the AV-8B and why they're important. So first of all, we'll discuss the different types of roll-ins that we're going to look at today. So we're going to look at the roll-in, which is defined by your Z parameters. So for example, for a 45-degree dive with any of the freefall bombs, that's going to be a slant range of 2.5 miles at 11,000 feet. Equally for rockets and guns, that's going to be a roll-in of 2.5 miles slant range at a altitude of 5,000 feet, and all of these altitudes are above target level. So the roll-in is pretty prescribed, and if you know exactly the target area you're going to be fighting over, you can obviously add on the relevant target elevation to your Z altitudes and then upgrade that to a barometric height, so in angels. So if the target was 1,000 feet above sea level, for the 45-degree dive with bombs, you're going to be looking at a pattern altitude of angels 12 or 12,000 feet. And again, it's going to be that 2.5 mile roll-in, so it simplifies things. You might find yourself in a situation where you picked up a target that's maybe slightly outside where you were originally meant to be bombing, the elevation slightly different, or naturally, because terrain does rise and fall, you find that your bombing isn't quite accurate on each pass. So that's where you bring in the adaptive roll-in, and you either roll in earlier or later, or add or subtract altitude based on what you found your position to be. So for example, if you found that you rolled in and your angle was too shallow, but your aim-off was correct, so shallow, low wire, you would want to roll in slightly later. And conversely, if you rolled in and you found that your angle was too steep, but your aim-off was correct, so this is a high steep wire, you might want to roll in a little bit sooner. Okay, so first of all, let's set everything up. So for the regular roll-in, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put ourselves in Edit Grandmaster mode. We're going to make sure that we're on the HSD here. We've got a waypoint up ahead, which is our stake, so the centroid of our targets. We're going to designate that, and we're going to bring up the DMT so that we can view the targets. We're going to set up our weapons, so in this case bring up the Mark 81s, and we'll leave the quantity multiple to 1, the interval is not relevant, and I'm going to put the fuse to impact. I'm going to bring the master arm to the up position, the dangerous position, and then just do a quick check. Flaps are all fine, lights are fine, my ECM's fine, everything should be good to go, and I'm just going to put the bomb into CCIP there. Okay, so let's come out of active pause. So straight away, pattern altitude's a little bit low, so we can bring ourselves up. I know that this is roughly on this target is roughly on sea level, so I'm going to bring myself up to 11,000 feet. Okay, looking at the DMT there, we can see that there is a target in the DMT, quite faint. TDC press to move the DMT, allow it to be moved around, and then we're just going to slew it to our target. So we're just going to move it over to this Paladin here. It's a bit more of an interesting target than just a truck. That's 11,000 feet. Let's level out. Okay, we're going to power back a little bit. I want to be at about 360 knots. Okay, so this is really good. It actually works through clouds, so if you pick your target up far away enough, you can climb above the cloud, and then you don't have to worry about your target designation. So we're just shy of 11,000 feet there, 10,970, and we're looking for 2.5 miles for the roll-in, 4.6, 4.5. 2.5 miles, roll in, dispense flares, onto our back, roll back through. We are shallow low wire, bring the pipper up to the target, release, and we're off. Flaring again, program's taking care of everything, and we're jinking off target. So that is the regular roll-in. And there's our little indication that we killed what we were shooting at. Okay, 7,000 feet. Let's turn around. So we were a little bit shallow there. So for the adaptive roll-in, you would use the preset numbers. But in this instance, I'm more interested in the dive angle, and to be honest, in the heat of the moment, if you're doing an operation, it's unlikely you're going to be able to remember that. So I'm just going to roll in at 2.2 miles and see if that makes a discernible difference. No, I'm not specifically flying the angled break range pattern here. I'm just flying it semi-marker. Okay, so 4.5 miles. Let's turn back toward the target. We're going to climb up to 11,000 feet. Set the power back to where it was before, about 78%. Select our next target, which is going to be, I believe that's Bradley, our linebacker. Point toward the target there. 11,000 feet. 3 miles. We're a little bit high. So it's down. Looking for about, let's go for 2. Let's see if that makes a difference. So 2 miles, roll in, flares are coming out. Roll wings level. There we go, 45 degrees, perfect. Walk it up to the pipper. Release, flares, power on, and recover. Much steeper angle, and we're jinking. There's a good kill. So much steeper angle, which makes us less vulnerable to targets and eliminates the 6-12 error. So the 6-12 error is when the bomb lands long or lands short. The shallower your dive angle, the more 6-12 error you will have. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to demonstrate the reactive roll-in. So the reactive roll-in is simply if you see something off to your side and you think, I want to kill that, you just take a clock code. So, for example, straight ahead of you is going to be a dive angle of 0 because you're not really going to see it. Off to your side, there's going to be a dive angle of 90 degrees because you're right above the target, pretty much. And then sort of 45 degrees off your nose is 45 degrees. It's that simple. So let's turn toward the target. Right, I'll power back. Notice this isn't dependent on a particular altitude either. It's not a very accurate way of bombing, but it does get the job done. So we know the targets are down there, we're seeing some smoke, we're a bit too close to actually get an accurate look at it. So I want 45 degrees, so as it crosses the canopy bow here, there we go, I'm just going to roll in. Probably going to be more like a 30-degree dive angle. There we go. And I'm not sure what it is, but we're going to go for that target there. On away. And note how it leaves us a marker. Slight miss, so as I said, it's not an entirely accurate method of bombing. Okie doke, let's move on from the bombs to the rockets. So as you may be aware, rockets aren't entirely accurate. So we're going to fire off 3. Now, if your slant range is 2.5 miles at 5,000 feet, if you want to keep your pattern altitude the same, if you do maybe the angle range pattern, you just want to bring yourself up to about 5 miles. So that means you can keep the 11,000 feet pattern, or whatever the pattern is, so you can adjust it based on the threat, so you can stay above the threat for the majority of the pattern, except for the dive, the release, and the off-target maneuver. So in this case, we're going to go out for a 5 mile roll in at 11,000 feet. Okay, there's 5 miles, let's turn in. Just the power. Can bring the air brakes out for the rockets to make things more stable if you so wish. 5.2 miles, 5 miles, there we go, select the dive, so you should be at about 20 degrees, we're slightly shallow. We're going to update our target designation for that vehicle, and we're going to put it on the base of the target. Three miles, I'm going to start putting flares out. Trimming all the way down because my speed is increasing. And when the pipper comes alive, nails, and we're going to come off. Okay, so a very simple demonstration of the rockets there. Again, demonstrating that they're not particularly accurate. It's important to note we're going to go over to the gun next. If you were to select the gun right now, you'd just get that pipper. This is the bore sight of the gun, that's where the gun's looking, and it can help you with suppressing targets. Maybe if you roll in and there's a lot of small arms fire, or there's man pads that are ducking in and out, it just means that you can suppress those targets. It's quite useful. In this case, we're going to deselect the rockets, and that's going to allow us to use the gun. Okay, we're at 5 miles, we're going to turn around, we're going to allow the aircraft to climb. Again, we want about a 20-degree dive angle. So turn toward the target. If you do an accurate air-to-ground gunnery, you want a half second to 1 second burst, 5 miles. Let's roll in, we're probably going to be a little shallow again. Not too bad, okay. I'm going to fly toward the target, we're going to put the DMT pretty much on the target. Air brake away for the gun. Wait for the pipper to come alive. There it is, and a half second burst.
Pull up.
And obviously you wouldn't want to circle around solo and do such a predictable turn, because that's perfect time for triplet or man pads to hit you. You want to always perform your off-target maneuver, get back up to your safety altitude as quickly as possible. That makes it more difficult for the missiles or the gunners to track you. Okay, perfect. So that concludes how to perform the roll-in and perform basic gunnery, rocketry and bombing. If you have any questions about anything that's been covered today, please feel free to contact me.